In this video, we are going to be creating an organizer using Lucidchart. I'm starting from the My Documents folder that you get to when you first open Lucidchart. To open a new file, we're going to click on the Create button on the left, and I'm going to click on New Document. It gives me some basic choices of what I want to create. Do I want to create a flowchart, mind maps, all sorts of different kinds of diagrams, Venn diagrams. I'm going to click on just a mind map, and I'm going to go with the blank mind map. Now it's going to start off by asking me to name my mind map, which is a good idea because if you start creating a lot of these, you don't want to have a bunch of untitled ones to get confused about. So I'm going to name this test map and click OK. Now, depending on which of the the types of organizer you choose, it's going to kind of determine which what's already on the template and what kind of things are there. So you're going to take some experimentation to figure out which one works best for you. And it gives me some shortcuts here. Now to get rid of this box, I'm going to click on it, hit delete, and it's gone. So the center of my mind map, it says mind map. If I double click it, I can type, and I can make this whatever I want my main idea to be. So maybe I'm going to make an organizer about the story Hatchet. So I'm going to type in the main title there, and I click off. Now that is now kind of my central idea. If I would like to bring in other things, I come over here to the left, and I can grab different objects. Now if I want to kind of create it like a more like a web, what I can do is I can say, you know what, I want to use this kind of pill container shape, it says, so I can bring this in. And I can bring that in a couple times and create kind of a web. Now what's nice is you'll see there's some alignment lines, guidelines that pop up to help you keep things aligned. So I can do that, and now with two things I should be able to hover and kind of get it lined up with both of those. And then with Hatchet over here, I can always come in here, highlight it, and change that to a larger font if I want. And it will increase the size in the middle. If I'm happy with that, I can put that in the middle. Now if I would like to connect these with a line, what I can do is I can hover on any one of these points, and when I grab it, I can trace an arrow to different parts. And you got to do some experimentation to see how you want it to fit. But if you kind of go like this, you can get it to work. And I'm going to come over here and do the same thing and try to make them identical. Now, I don't really know what my particular organizer is going to be here, but it looks like a web. Now I could be doing this in a bunch of different ways. I could have lines going from here, showing relationships. And they're very easy to add. Now once you add any of these objects, you can click on them, and they become highlighted. It's hard to see, but this is highlighted in a faint pink color. And then I can change it up here by choosing different kind of arrows. There's a curved arrow, there's kind of a right angle arrow, or just more of a diagonal straight arrow. I can also come over here and choose different ends, so I can have a back end to this arrow or none. I could also come up here and choose the different types of front arrow. Oh, and click that again. I can come up here to change my line type, maybe to a dotted line. I can come over here and change the line thickness by using this number. But it's all very easy, very similar to other programs we've had, like Inspiration. Now it's very easy to start generating a quick diagram here, but I'm going to show you some other options that are kind of built into this toolbar. Now at the top, there's a search, and it says it's powered by Google. If I type in the word Hatchet there and hit enter, it's going to search and do a Google Images search. Now this is kind of small, but if I hover on it, I can kind of get a preview of what it's showing. So if I wanted to, I can come in here and grab a cover. So I like this cover. I'm going to grab this and drag it over, and it should take the image and bring it in. Now, this image for some reason is kind of being blocked by, like, it's the full image on the preview, looks like this, but this image is kind of cut off. You can come in here and choose this, the metrics tool on your right-hand toolbar, and click on original size, and it will kind of open that up because it kind of crops it for you. And once you have that opened up, I'm going to close this window, and I can then resize it by just grabbing the corner and dropping it in here. If I want to make this smaller, I can do that as well. I can even use my arrow keys to make minor adjustments. So I get this where I want it, and I'm good. I can add other clip art too. If I want an actual hatchet to put here, I can grab one and say, you know what, that looks good too. I'm going to put that here. And I'm going to drag this and put it down at the bottom. And it's very easy to make these changes. Now, other options I have. When I have this search, I can close it to get rid of it. But that Google search is always there for when I want to add stuff. If I scroll down, I see there's different things I can use, containers, flowcharts. When you bring in some of the flowchart stuff, it automatically connects to the thing you brought in before it. So just be aware of that. Now, if I would like more shapes, I come down here on the left and click on the More Shapes button. When you click that, you see there's kind of a list of choices that you have of the different things that it can show. Now, right now it's showing flowchart, mind mapping, and user images. If I want to show some other kind of graphics or pictures I can grab, I can add the tech clip art. Maybe if I'm doing something with iPhones or iPads, I can add those. And when I do that and click Save, those are going to now appear over here. As I scroll down, I now have these iPhone elements. Maybe I'm trying to do something that looks like an iPhone. It brings that picture up. I can easily click this and drag it over and bring it into my organizer. Now the thing with this is this really doesn't fit my theme, so I'm just going to delete it. But if I come down here, I see some different technology things. Maybe one of these things would fit what I wanted to do, but since Hatchet is kind of the antithesis of technology, I'm not going to use any of that clip art. Now the things I've brought in, I can make edits and changes to them using some of the tools over here on the right hand side. If I click on an object, I'm able to come over here and do some different things with it. When I click on the navigator button, it shows me the part of my document that I'm looking at. So what I see on my screen is outlined in red, and all these other parts are additional space that I could be working on my document, kind of the rest of the page. I can use this slider to zoom in and zoom out. Now the graphic one allows you to make some changes to your graphics depending on which ones you've added. Certain things are grayed out when they don't work at that moment. Certain things do work. So I can do this, and it has some different gradients and some different things with color I can change. I'm going to leave this alone. I'm going to click on the hatchet picture and go back to that graphics tool. Now if I go to the selection, it gives me this choice to add a shadow. If I click shadow, you're going to see a faint gray shadow appear on there. Now I can make the distance greater, and I will add the shadow, more of a shadow. I can change the angle of it from where like the light's coming from. So it's just a little cool effect you can add to this. There's some other choices you can choose here, but it kind of depends on which image you bring in and what you're dealing with. The metrics tool we looked at before, this allows us to kind of edit the image. We can change the size. If you go to original size, it returns it to the first size. You have the ability to flip things horizontally and vertically. And you also have a control here to change the orientation. If I wanted something in here kind of an angle, I could do that. So I'm just going to go back to the original. Well, it's a little bit offset. That looks fine. Now if I come in here and click on my text and highlight it and click the text tool, it gives me some different options for indentation and line spacing if I have more of a paragraph there. So there's some text features I can use. Page settings. This lets me choose what kind of paper size I'm going to be using, whether I want the orientation, portrait, or landscape. Under the page settings, there's some other things we can do. We can change the fill color and add a gradient, some different things like that. A lot of this is going to be experimentation to find out how to make things look exactly how you want them. What's nice is it's very easy to get started with something simple, but it also offers you those options to take it to that next step and make it more involved. As I'm working on my file, you'll notice that it says all changes have been saved. What happens is much like Google Docs, everything is saved as you go, since technically you're working on a web page and it's built to kind of protect your work. You'll also see, if I look at this, my shapes can be moved around, the arrows move with it, but if I click on a shape and come up to this lock icon, I can lock that shape in place. So now this icon will not be selected or moved. And that's kind of a nice feature. If I highlight it, I can kind of click on it and get just that one highlighted, and I can click unlock, and it will unlock this object so I can work with it again. But if you want to create something that you're going to use on a smartboard or on a tablet, and you want this to be frozen in place, what you can do is click on these objects and lock them in place, so it kind of creates a template that can't be changed. Now the last one, one of the last tools we can use is under history. It brings up kind of a revision history so you can see what you've done as you've been working on it. So this will show up when you've saved something and bring up your most recent versions. The last one is the demonstration controls. If you click this, what it does is it's going to show start demonstration, and it basically removes all the tools and kind of shows you a presentation mode with this little red pointer so you can point to different parts of your project. Now, it doesn't let you type, doesn't let you add anything, but you can view it and kind of point out the things you like. You can zoom in using the tools in the top right hand corner. So it gives you kind of a cool tool that you have in order to present what you've created. Notice the comment pane stays on while you're presenting, so if you are collaborating with people, they can still be commenting here. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to hit escape to get out of this view. Now, one of the things that you're able to do in this program that many other programs don't allow you to do is you're able to share. If I click the share button, you'll see a sharing window that's very similar to what we use in Google Docs. This one is a little bit different though. It allows us to share kind of the work in progress. We can also publish our document to a web page or PDF so that we can share something that's kind of finalized. We can add people's email addresses here, and it's linking up with my school and Google account, so all the people I work with are potential collaborators. And I can send a message to them. I can choose what level of control they have, can view, can edit, or as owner. I can even post things to Google+, Twitter, or Facebook. And I do all that by filling in this form, clicking send invitation, and that person becomes a collaborator on this form. One of the other options that is very powerful is at the bottom corner. There is the comments feature. You can add comments to this file, and they will kind of become part of that comment stream. Now, if you're collaborating, this is a place where comments can be saved and viewed for either feedback or just during your presentation. If you want those comments to be someone asking you questions, it's an option that's there for you. And without getting too detailed, this is how you create with Lucidchart. There's a lot of different little options you can do within this, but this is kind of a basic start where you can create most organizers that you use in your day-to-day life.